The library at the edge of the world. At the very edge of the world, where the sky melted into the sea and the wind whispered forgotten names, there stood a library. It was no ordinary place of books and dust, but a towering labyrinth of endless shelves, filled with stories never told, books never read, and knowledge long lost to time. Few ever found it, for it could not be reached by road or map. The library appeared only to those who truly needed it. Some arrived in dreams, others through doorways that should not exist. And once inside, they were greeted by the librarian, an ancient figure draped in robes woven from the ink of 1,000 stories. One storm-tossed evening, a girl named Isla stumbled through the library's doors. She had been running. From what? She could not say. All she remembered was the dark sea swallowing her boat, the cold arms of the waves pulling her under, and then a light, a flickering lantern in the mist. And suddenly, she was here, dripping water onto the endless marble floors. "Where am I?" Isla susurró. A voice, low and warm as turning pages, answered, "You stand in the library at the edge of the world, where all lost things come to rest." The librarian stepped forward, their face hidden by the deep hood of their robe. "What is it you seek?" Isla's heart pounded. She had no home, no family, nothing but the hunger to belong. "I don't know," she admitted. The librarian nodded. "Then let the library decide." A book floated toward her, its cover deep blue like the ocean at night, its title written in a language she did not know, but somehow understood. With trembling fingers, Isla opened it. The pages shifted and flickered, like waves rolling onto a shore. Then, words began to form, not words of some long-dead scholar or forgotten king, but her own story. Every moment of her life, every lost dream, every tear, every hope she had buried. It was all written here. "This is me," she breathed. "It is your past," the librarian said, "but the last pages are still unwritten." Isla turned to the end of the book. The final pages were blank, waiting for her to write them. She lifted her eyes to the endless shelves towering above her. If this library held the story of her life, then it must also hold stories of who she could become. "May I stay?" she asked. The librarian smiled, and for the first time, Isla saw their face, a shifting reflection of every reader who had ever stood in this place. All who seek knowledge are welcome here. And so, Isla stayed. She wandered halls where history whispered from the shelves, where books sang their words into the air, where time moved differently, bending like ink spilled across a page. She read stories filled with worlds she had never imagined, ones that called to something deep within her. And when she was ready, she picked up a quill. The ink shimmered like liquid stars, and as she pressed it to the paper, she began to write her own story. She wrote of the sea, of the storm, of the girl who thought she was lost. But as she wrote, she realized something she had never understood before. She had not been lost at all. She had only just begun to find her way. For the library at the edge of the world was not a place to find answers. It was a place to discover the right questions, and Isla was ready to ask them.